everybody. It's Mark from Mark's Home Hobbies. I had a subscriber ask me what software I was using in order to work the CNC machine here down in the basement. This is the IBM ThinkPad Z61 $20 garage sale laptop. It is 64-bit laptop though. Although it doesn't make any difference with this machine now because it runs on this right here, which is the almighty GRBL offline controller that I showed in a couple videos ago. But anyway, this is the software that I use to make all the fancy creations, and you can see it's pretty easy. If you wanted to make a, any kind of a sign, you could just go like this and draw yourself out a square like this. Yeah, and then say apply, and then go ahead and put some text in here. And we'll just say Mark's Home Hobbies. Of course, what else would we put in there? Then we hit apply, then close, and then we go to this little icon right here, which would be to scale or move or whatever we want to do. So we can put that over there, and let's see, where's the corner of it? I'm going to resize it, but I can't see the corner. So big. That's what she said. Let's make it smaller. Now we'll go over here. Oh, that's way over there, isn't it? Let's just run this on back this way for a while. You can see what I'm doing here. Yeah, all I'm doing is just running this thing back down to size a little bit here, screen by screen. Because on this version, on this machine, it doesn't have the function that automatically resizes it. I don't know what happened to it or what's going on here with it, but it seems to work other than that. But usually there's a little job over here where it'll automatically resize it up to the screen. I'm not sure if I'm just missing it. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, width 15. So we need to make that like 5.0. And then we need to make this height 3. Apply. No, that's not good. There we go. Apply. Alright, now we can move this thing around. Get it over where we want it. And I think we would want to edit the text a little bit there. So we'll come in here. Put that on its own line. There we go. So now we would just come in, click on that, move that over to the middle, then we can drag it out to whatever size we want right here. Still a little bit big there. Sorry about all this goofing around. I'm just trying to give you an idea of what it looks like when you set something up here. Okay, so we have that pretty much where we want them. You can choose what kind of toolpath you want to make. So let's do a quick engraving. So then you would tell it what depth you want to go down. We just have it set at 0.06. That's what we use a lot. So then you would bring your mouse down here and hit calculate. And it gives you that. Then you come down here and you hit close. So now you're probably saying, well, gee, what if that's not what I want? How am I going to see what it looks like? Well, come up here and it says preview toolpaths. So you hit that, and then you come over here and you hit preview all toolpaths. Then your little machine comes over there and it engraves that out for you, so you can see exactly how it's going to look. So that's how it's going to look. So that's okay, but that's the software. And then if you wanted to save that as a file, this would be your toolpath right here. Then you would come up here and hit save. See where it says save toolpath? And then you would give it a name. You would make sure that you pick the proper post processor there. You see I've selected GRBL inch, which I've had to install the post processor myself. I'm not going to go about how to do that. There's plenty of videos on YouTube on how to install the post processor if you happen to have this software. And then anyways, you would just save the file to a SD card at that point. Any old SD card would do. And then you would take that SD card and we don't need to save this. And then you would take your SD card and you would come down to this machine right down here and plug it in there, much like this one is right there. So you would have your file on here, your G code that you just created with Vectric Expire right there. And then yeah, you would fire up your machines here, plug this guy in, turn him on, turn this guy on. Yeah, and then you would fasten your wood down to your spoil board here, which you can see I was cutting, and I would need to resurface my spoil board before I do any cutting the next time because it would be out of whack. So I would have to run a flattener across this whole deal here and get her nice and flat before the next one, and then she'll be ready to go. This is a Harbor Freight trim router right here with 3D printed brackets on here, holders, and the rest of this is just the way the ZenBot came. Basically, there used to be a cover on the front of this, but I had to do so much monkeying around with the belts and stuff that on occasions that I left the cover off. So now everything works good. Y-axis, there's the x-axis, and there's the z-axis right there, and this is all belt driven too. So when you disconnect the power, your tool falls all the way to the table, so you got to make sure that you don't disconnect the power before you lower the tool down onto the table. Yeah, other than that, it's a pretty standard build. I'm not going to show you the dust collection because I don't have one yet. I have the dust collector, but I haven't made the physical piece that attaches to this yet, which I'm going to do shortly. That'll be another video. I'll show you guys me hooking that up and how that works. I've did a little bit of work to the wiring here. Now I've just got one big cable that leads right from there with the power and the Z-axis wiring. And then I'm going to have a drag chain going from right here to right there with these with this one giant wire right here, I guess. And the one in the back will just plug in. This one here has to plug into 110 so you can get your router to work. So that's about it. And this has to plug in too right here. So I'll probably combine both of those on a circuit somewhere so I can turn it on and off. And yeah, that's about it. I'll put the links in the description to where I picked up these two control boxes here and the price. Vectric, the software that I use to do my work on here, I've had that for a long time. It's a very old version. Image editing, I use Inkscape or a very old version of Adobe Illustrator. I think version, I want to say 6 I mean, it was back when you used to have to still install it off the discs. And yeah, I have an old version that I used to use years and years ago. It still works, so I use that when I do need editing, mostly Inkscape though. So anyhow, yeah, I hope I answered some of your questions here. Yeah, this is a really nice little deal because it basically allows me to do this right here and shut this guy right off. I don't know if he'll shut off now. There it goes. Yep, basically allows me to do that right there and go ahead and run the machine to my heart's content with no PC needed, no 32-bit, 64-bit nonsense, no G-code sender or any of those kind of programs. Eventually the laser will even hook into this too. It has an option for the spindle here, and there's also a laser post-processor for Vectric, because they have their own laser unit, so I'll be able to plug my my PWM laser control right into this and then run the laser holder right onto the side of this right here. So this will have a laser that can be used anytime I want to use it. I don't know if I'll leave it on there all the time, but I'll be able to put it on there very quickly and easily if I need it. And the other wires can simply attach to that loop there, you know, and that'll be out of the way basically at that point, and I can use the red laser on this one, and then this one here will be for the blue laser. It already has the blue laser attached to it, so I don't really want to dismantle that. That works pretty good. That way I can have two burners going at once if I need it, or I can have a router and a burner going at once. Gives me a little bit more flexibility there. So yeah, and I think I'm going to get back to cleaning up the shop here. I did a little bit of cleaning, but not much, so I don't really want to tour you up on it yet. And but I will at some point in time. So anyways, I hope you like this video, and like I said, links in the description for the devices. In terms of wiring, that's something I didn't really touch on. I don't really think you're going to have a problem wiring in it, as you know, it's pretty much a standard, straightforward 4-connector servo plug, and there's just 2 pairs of wires. So if you take a voltmeter and you test, you know, all the wires for continuity, if you find 2 that you get a beep out of them, that's 1 pair. Put a piece of tape around it, and the other pair is another pair. The other 2 are the other pair. So then all you have to do is just get those in the right order to make the motors all spin in the same direction. It's just a question of hooking up wires to the, you know, together until you get it right. So yeah, that's how I did it. Nothing real special there. And I don't have the end stop switches installed or anything like that. I don't really use soft limits or any of that, or the automatic homing. I do all that myself. It keeps me involved more with the machine. Yeah, in terms of that. So the laser will be my next attachment to this. This is working fine now. I've already cut projects on it, so I know it works good. I did move it. I used to have it attached over to here, but yeah, it just wasn't good. You know, I just didn't like it the way it was. The way you had to reach for it and stuff, you know. I just think it'll be better down here like this. Not so many wires going back to the back. Much better. And also it was interfering, hitting up against the wall there when I went back. So that's kind of another reason why I moved it. So anyhow, not because I didn't want to, but because I needed to. But I like this position even better, to tell you the truth, because I'm usually, you know, when you set this machine up, I'll move this laptop here. You set this machine up right here is basically your zero for everything. You know, your X and your Y zero is basically right here. You can go over here a little bit more, but I just keep it over here because then it leaves a little bit of space over on that side. But so usually right there about is where zero is. So I figure since I'm always right here, you know, down here checking to see, you know, if it's touching or not, and checking to see if it's lined up both ways. Yeah, probably be a good position right here. So easily movable if not. Well, anyways, back to what I was saying. Yeah, so if you like this video and you think it's great, or even if you don't, give me a thumbs down if you don't, but give me a thumbs up. I hope you do. How about subscribing to me like you're my friend? Why don't you do that? I would appreciate it. Even if I never see you ever again, it would be great if you could do that, because I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers here. It just seems impossible these days. A lot of people watch my stuff, but they don't hit subscribe, they don't hit like, they don't comment. So if you could do those things, it would be great. You would be the greatest person in the world to me, and I would appreciate you. So anyway, this is Mark with Mark's Home Hobby saying, I hope you had a great day and have a good one tomorrow. Talk to you later.